Hey Adam, how you doing? Chillax. Good evening, Yusuf. Hope you're well. Hope everybody's well. Hope you've all been enjoying an enjoyable weekend so far. Some aged Orley golden sliced. Very nice. How would you compare it to more up to date, fresher Orley golden sliced? 2017. Yeah, that's a sweet spot really. I find a lot of times that if it's much older than that, then it loses a bit. But you know what? It's very hard to tell because each tin is different, and sometimes an older tin can be amazing, and sometimes it's not so amazing. It's a bit unpredictable, I find at times. It's only when you really smoke a tobacco a lot um, that you can see the differences. Hey Mark, how you doing? Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, hey Mad Piper, I've got to say that converting the Parker was, like I said in the video, it was a big risk. I have done conversions before. It wasn't my first time, but nevertheless, with a pipe of this sort of nature, the cost that it cost, one of the most expensive pipes that I've bought. Not the most, but one of the most expensive pipes that I've bought. So it was a risk. At the back of my mind, I had sort of the thought that if anything were to go pear shaped, like really, really bad, then I could always still send it off. It wouldn't end up being the same pipe. If the shank would have cracked, usually it's the top end of the shank that would crack, and you can always cut that off and start again. And that I could have had repaired or even done that again myself. It was a risk. I would have still been able to smoke the pipe, but it just wouldn't have been the same pipe. So for me, it was obviously crucial to take the. Hey Jeff, it was crucial for me to ensure that the pipe stayed as kind of original as possible. I tried to use the stem, that didn't work out, and that was always going to be an issue. It's if I would have sent it off, then I would have probably been okay with the stem. But I wasn't a big fan of the stem to start with. The bend on it wasn't very good, and I think my stem will be a lot more comfortable anyway. It would have been better to keep it original, but it's not the end of the world that I wasn't able to. And here's the pipe, and the stem really suits it. It looks great. It looks like it could have been made this way. And the bend on it is so much better. The button is so much better. I've actually gone really, really thin. You can see the smoke, the drill there, but that would be very comfortable. I don't remember where this stem came from, to be honest. Not sure. But just look at that grain. This ring grain is what caught my attention. And the actual pipe itself is completely unaffected. I touched up a bit of stain over here, but you can't even tell it. It's blended in really well. Good snug fit on the stem, and it's perfect. I haven't actually re-drilled it because the draw feels open enough. The drill is a bit high, you can see that there, but with a filtered pipe it's not such a big problem. I've drilled just the opening. I've put a countersink in there, so it's a little bit wider. Can you see that countersink? You can just about make it out in the draft hole there. You can see there you can see it like that. That's the countersink there, which I've put in it, which means that the filter gets more of it. So, time to put some tobacco in it, I think. Gonna give it some honey. Good morning, Lee. How are you? Where is my honey? Some honey. Put the extractor on. I'm not going to put roll cake in now because I'm not entirely sure what I'll be using the pipe for yet. It's not a sort of car pipe. It's a pipe that you'd use at home because it's larger than average. It's an XL. So I'm going to start it off with London Fog, which I've been smoking quite a bit since I made this batch. A couple of weeks ago, a couple of Saturdays ago during London calling. And I've really been enjoying it. So it takes a bit of time to really get the best flavour, I find, with this blend, but it already starts to get better within a couple of weeks. But a few months down the line, this will be where I want it to be. Alright, so we'll leave that out for a bit. Would I ever, hey Daniel, would I break in a pipe with Northwoods? In principle, yes. I mean, if it was going to be a pipe that I wanted to dedicate to Latakia, then yes. But to be honest, my process for breaking in pipes is such that, because the majority of what I smoke is Virginia based, so I assume that if the pipe works out for Virginias, then I'm going to keep it for Virginias. I only resort to Latakia on a pipe if the pipe doesn't work out for Virginias. So sometimes you'll get a new pipe and I had that with the Talamona. So the pipe that I got in Rome, this Talamona, I couldn't get a decent smoke out of it with Oily Golden Sliced, but with vanilla cream, vanilla roll cake, it's breaking in very nicely. So some pipes just don't like certain tobaccos. You can't explain it. I suppose it's the flavor profile of the briar. Each piece of briar has its own sort of profile. You know, it's like, as an analogy, you know, if you you know, have an apple tree in your garden, you pick an apple, you taste it, it tastes great. You pick another apple, it might not be quite as ripe, or it might have a slightly different bitterness to it, or more acidic flavor to it, or more sweeter flavor to it. There'll be certain slight differences. It's the same with briar. So each piece of briar has a slightly different flavor profile of its own, and it contributes that to whatever you're smoking. So sometimes it just works with certain tobaccos better than others. North Country Fisher, how you doing? Well, when the Castello pipe arrives, it all depends on the thickness of the shank. If there's enough thickness there for me to convert it, then the chances are that's what I'll do. I only have one Castello at the moment, which smokes very, very well, I have to say. It smokes Audit Golden Sliced, and it does it very well. So I have no reason to believe that another Castello won't also be wonderful. So I'll be looking forward to receiving it. Daniel put a couple of pipes up for sale, and I jumped on that because the Castello, as I said, is I've been wanting to add another Castello, so I was glad for that opportunity. And if it doesn't, if it's not convertible, then I guess I'll sell it on. 00 pipe indeed. Oh, is that you? No, that's not. And I find that it's really oh, 00 pipe is here. Welcome from Alfred in Charleston. Welcome from London in the UK. So the 00 pipe is actually right here. I haven't shipped it as yet. I did ship a few pipes on Friday, but this one will go in the next couple of days. It's this beautiful Rhodesian. And this is he's dubbed it the 00 pipe because it's British, quintessential British, almost like well, it is close to being a bulldog. I mean, you could call it a bulldog technically because it has the sort of Rhodesian bull, but with a diamond shank. So that would make it a bulldog. But it is not a proper, it's like a half diamond shank, which I think actually really, really works very well with this pipe. This whole sort of shape down here is just, I've fallen in love with it. And in a way, this half saddle kind of adds to how that works, the balance of the pipe. And it's like I find it looks almost like a double wave, and it works so well with the blue there. It just worked out, you know, the shapes and colors of the stems is random, obviously, but it just worked out really well. One of the other ones that I did, I think it was, who got that pipe? It looked like a pair of eyes and a mouth, like a cartoonish pair of eyes and a mouth, which looked really cool. It was one of the other ones. You were born in Gillingham. Cool. Yeah, Jeff, I'm definitely making more Crown series. I saw your comment about making the Rosebud. I might do that. I might do a 626 and a Rosebud because those two shapes are kind of, in a way, synonymous with my output. So I might do that. But I have commissions. I've got Crown series commissions. But I will probably close down the series this week at some point. Otherwise it becomes too prolific. So I only want it to be just a few pipes each time there's an event with the royal family. So if I make too many of them, then there's not going to be any uniqueness to it. You know, there's not going to be any kudos to people who own them. So as I say, I'll probably finish it this week. So I've got maybe 2 or 3 commissions on the Crown series, and I would like to, Jeff, take you up on your idea, which was the Rosebud and possibly a 626. So we shall see. a 320. I did one. It was an Apple really, rather than an Author. That was a rusticated one, like the blonde coloured one. That's about as near as I got to doing a 320 shape, I suppose, in the Crown series. But I actually think that this stem looks better on this pipe than the original stem. And obviously I'm going to be a bit biased on that, but I do believe it does. The bend on it is certainly better. And the other one was tapered, but the way it was cut, I could see that it was tapered on one side more than the other, and that made the bend a little bit awkward looking. Sorry, I do have a stem here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So you could see that the way that curves there is the way it's actually being cut. It's not a bend, it's been cut that way. And it just made the pipe look a bit awkward, in my opinion. Although I did get a filter into it, a stem into it, a tenon into it, but it was slightly off center, so I decided that it would be better, rather than trying to trim the shank to fit it, it would make more sense just to put a new stem on it. Mark, did your parcel arrive? Or was there no deliveries today? Okay. What shape's the longest to make from start to finish? Well, I suppose you could answer that on a classic shape, but if it's a freeform, then there's no fixed Tuesday. Why is it bank holiday today, this weekend? Is it bank holiday weekend again? Oh, you have to book a redelivery. Well, something to look forward to, I guess. Hey, Jeremy. Yeah, so a classic shape, a billiard, Author, or bulldog. I would say a bulldog would take longer than a billiard or an Author for sure. Well, she's a light. And I will say that the draw is great. No problems at all. When I first drilled it, and I first drilled the mortise and prepared the stem, I put a filter in and I could hardly get any air through. But I adjusted it until it was good, and now the air is, the draw is perfect on the pipe. It's not a pipe that you'd want to clench for any long period of time. I often find that with a new pipe, I do get tongue bite a little bit for a while, even with a filter. And, 'cause, 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 ' these Parkers, same as Dunhill, they do come pre-coated, but I find that it's not so much a coating as just like a paint. They I think they just almost paint on a layer of something, a black paint of some kind, rather than a proper ball coating. When I do a ball coating, it's a proper ball coating, which hopefully doesn't affect the flavor of the pipe in any way at all. And I use it occasionally. I did a few a week or so ago for aesthetic reasons. Your most recent 9mm filter box had the blue end. What's wrong with that? They're really good. I never had a problem with the blue end ones. You just have to make sure that the blue end is facing the button and not the bowl. I've never noticed any difference between the ones with ceramic at both ends or with blue at one end. That's always a problem, Mark, when you lend stuff to people, especially if it's family. There's not much you can do about it, and it comes back. I have the same problem with my tools. I lend out my tools sometimes. I try not to anymore, but if I lend out my tools and then it comes back, usually it just comes back really dirty and filthy. They just haven't bothered to clean them, and I get a bit annoyed by that, frustrated by that. I've got a big Bosch, or is it DeWalt? Maybe a DeWalt SDS drill, and I've had it for years. And you know, sometimes you have something which they'll say, oh, if anything goes wrong, I'll replace it. You know what? I don't want you to replace it. I'd rather you didn't borrow it, and instead of replacing mine, just go and buy yourself a tool. Because tools, you know, it's like everything. They're made differently. You know, every new generation, they just find some corners to cut or some materials which are cheaper to use. And you know, sometimes you open up a drill nowadays, it's all plastic inside. Even the cogs, everything is plastic. It's the same with lathes. You know, some of the new lathes, the cogs are all plastic. No, tools are not cheap. Good tools are not cheap. Although, having said that, my cordless drill, which I have here, this is a by a company called McAllister, which was about 50 quid, 50 or 60 quid. And although I don't use them like on a building site, I find it to be pretty good. It's not the best, but for 50 quid, I don't mind buying it, using it for a couple of years, and then buying another one. Got a bit of a gurgle. Well, I filled this very, very lightly. Oh, that's interesting. Got a pretty serious gurgle going on. Shouldn't really break this up. But Yeah, that's how it goes, Mark. The kids don't feel that they have to give you stuff back, Christine. Any more thoughts on getting a metal lathe? Not really, no. I mean, the only thing that really a metal lathe is going to give me nowadays is a bit more speed when it comes to making bands and things like that. And if I really wanted to go down the road of machining silver and that kind of thing, or metal. But other than that, you know, I've trained myself to turn bands and rings on my wood lathe. I can't say that it's perfect, but because it takes quite a long time. Especially this the Crown Series stem material. Have I got any sitting here? So the Crown Series stem material is square. And I don't usually buy square material because it's really hard to use on the wood lathe. It's quite hard on your chisels because if you imagine the corners spinning around fast, and it really sort of hammers away at the sharp edge of your chisel. And it's also more prone to chips flying off it. So I prefer not to work with square rod stock, but because this material is square and this is what I'm using for the Crown Series, I don't have a choice. Mark, if you want to book in a commission, book it in now, but I'll just do it later on. I do want to close it down this week, so book it in now. Send me a message and I'll book it in, but I can push it off. It's not going to be done till then anyway, because I've got quite a list of commissions now in my book, so you'll be fine, but just get it booked in. Hey Andrew, how you doing? Yeah, it's a gorgeous pipe, and as I say, I saw this when I was in Rome, and I kind of lusted after it and eventually pulled the trigger. He gave me a little bit of a discount across the whole website, but it did cost me a bit on tax. He didn't sort of declare it on full value, but it was still quite a high value, so I had to pay, I think I paid about £45. So it was an expensive pipe for me, taking all of that into consideration. Adam, hand turning acrylic, you have to take your time with it, and also you've got to, which is a term which I learnt from Drop Bear Woodworks, from what's his name? Glenn, thank you. You've got to ride the bevel. I'll show you what I mean. So say for argument's sake you're using a parting tool, which I use quite often, and this is the tool that I really learned how to make pipes on. It needs a bit of a go on the grinding wheel, but basically when you're putting it up against the wood or against the acrylic, I can't really show it to you. I need to show it to you on the lathe, but I can't really show it to you like this. It's not so. But essentially, if you imagine this is a rod, so when you're going at it, this thing is not focusing. So imagine you're going side on onto the lathe. This is spinning around like that. So you're going in, say, halfway up or whatever, and you're going to chisel in. Now, if that was wood, that would be no problem. But with acrylic, because it's prone to breaking and chipping, what you need to do is actually, I can't do it here because of the table, but you need to lower the back of the chisel and just really get it along with the bevel, and just so in other words you're in line with the bevel, and just very slowly bring it in until it starts taking a bit of material off, and that just seems to work better with acrylic. And you also need a higher speed as well with acrylic, but your tool also needs to be really sharp. So I mean, from that point of view, a metal lathe it makes life easier, that's for sure. Hey Phil. I haven't done a live video like this I used to do it always like this for years in the beginning when I started doing the lives, but more recently I have, the last couple of years I've had the camera facing me just lower down, but I find that doing it this way you don't get much of a depth, you don't have enough room to do some stuff, but at least you get a good view of the pipe. I don't know what that gurgle was. Maybe it was probably because I loaded it too light, but it's drawing very smoothly now. Do carvers hand carve vulcanite stems more? Do see many artisan pipes with them? Yeah, I think the vast majority of high-end pipe makers would use ebonite. Yeah. 100 in the shade, Phil. Man. No, nothing like that here. Tomorrow we're supposed to be getting in London 69 degrees, which is going to be the highest we've had for a while. But they are saying that we possibly might have a heat wave during the summer. We've certainly been getting spells of very high heat. They say it's global warming and all that kind of stuff, but the summers are definitely hotter than they used to be on average. So I guess you couldn't really get much done in that kind of heat, Phil. What I find with breaking in a new pipe, actually this pipe is actually very quick. I usually take time before I break in a pipe. Sometimes it sits in my drawer for ages. I've got a whole queue of pipes waiting to be broken in. But this one, I knew this one was going to be a keeper. Yeah, that's difficult, Phil. That's when people get colds and things like that, when there's no time to adjust. It has got quite a wide bowl, this one, and I'm going to have to learn the best way to fill it, to load it, to get the best smoke out of it. Yusuf's just starting winter. You work till 3. Well, some of them do have lacquer on them, Daniel, and some of them literally have like a paint layer. A lot of people have talked about some of the Petersons bubbling up, the stain bubbling up. But usually artisans would be using stain. They wouldn't be using, or dye. Maybe just not polishing it out so that it reveals the grain. And then maybe finish it off with a lacquer, maybe. Have you tested for COVID, Chillax? Yeah, well, it's understandable that green would turn brown after a while. Once you got the tobacco juices coming through the pipe, that would happen. The advantage of this being black means that I don't have to worry about scoring the pipe and scorching the rim or anything like that. I mean, eventually you would see something, but negative, right? I had my second bout of it maybe a couple of months ago. It wasn't in some ways it wasn't as bad as the first time, but it was, my sinuses were completely blocked. It was quite scary in a way because I couldn't breathe anything through my nose at all, until I got some spray, which was very, very effective, and that kind of was a lifesaver. That really heavy sort of bit only lasted maybe 3 or 4 days, 5 days, whereas last time it lasted 3 weeks. You had an epiphany this morning as far as totally dying Stummel's dark. Go on, Phil, we're all ears. Brine into a dye pot and under vacuum. So what are you saying? So that it draws it all into the briar? How would you protect the inside of the bowl and the shank? Dress pipe has to be really careful. You have to be very careful with the dress pipe because because it's such a smooth finish, any imperfection would show up in the pipe. You know, even if it's sanded and, you know, that kind of thing, if it's filled and sanded. But once you start to smoke the pipe and it heats up, it would expand and you would see that any imperfections you would see in the pipe. So it has to be a perfect pipe in order to be a dress pipe. So what they tend to use, I think, is that oftentimes you will get a bald pipe where there's no grain, or it has some grain but a lot of the pipe is bald and it just wouldn't cut it as a smooth pipe. It wouldn't cut it as a sandblasted pipe because there's no grain there to show. So they would often use those for dress pipes. Yeah, Daniel was asking Patrick why the briar has to be perfect for a dress pipe before you stain it. And that's because black shows everything up. If there's any imperfections, you would see it, which wouldn't look nice. And a dress pipe is supposed to have a perfectly black finish. So they have to be flawless pipes. But when you get a flawless pipe, you know, you want that to be a regular smooth brown pipe and show the grain. But so sometimes what I've heard is that they use pipes which just don't have a great grain. Why would you cover up a beautiful grain of a pipe? So it's logical that they use pipes which are perfect but don't have a good grain. no pits and anything like that. You know, if you had a pit, even if you filled it, it would show up on a dress pipe. Interesting, Daniel. No, they don't cost a fortune because, like I say, the briar is generally not a particularly, although it's flawless in terms of its outer edge, there's no pits or anything like that, but it won't have a particularly good grain. So a dress pipe is a way of using up those blocks. I mean, you could rusticate those blocks, but I don't think they cost a fortune. They cost a little bit more maybe because of the processes, but I don't find that they cost a lot more. In actual fact, I'm not sure how popular they are. I mean, they do sell. There's always a percentage of Dunhills in any drop that you see on a pipe website. When you see a new batch of Dunhills, Danish Pipe Shop's got a huge selection. There'll always be a few. I don't think I've made a dress pipe. I've refurbished some, but I don't think I've made any. And I don't think I would buy one either, to be perfectly honest. I prefer grain. Some people like that look, that sort of bow tie kind of look, which it certainly works. You know, you could see that if somebody's wearing a top hat and tails, that a dress pipe would work very well. In that scenario, yes, for sure. Son-in-law. Well, I guess there is some demand, otherwise they wouldn't make them. Hey, David. Perla Nera, which I guess means black pearl. Evening, Sam. 2021 dress pipe, 585. It's not their cheapest level, but it's not the most expensive. Let's have a look at the Danish Pipe Shop. Look how many they've got. They've got 379 Dunhills. Yeah, look, so this is a dress pipe and that's sold. 371 euros. It's not too bad, considering it's a Dunhill. Finish, dress. Just for any pipe websites watching this for me is the example of how a pipe website should look. They have the exactly right filters that you can just search for exactly what you want. It's my favorite website by far that sells pipes. I like GQs as well, but this one is in terms of its design, I haven't seen any website better than the Danish Pipe Shop. I visit this website more than once a day. Not just to buy pipes, but just to get inspiration, see what other people are doing. So these are all the dress pipes. 6, 12, 16 pipes. There's even a 9mm one here. Yeah, Biscard's alright, but not as good as this, in my opinion. I mean, you could search the whole of the website. Say you want to look at all the 9mm filters, so you click on 9mm filters. Then if you want to buy new or estate, you can then filter out if you want only the estates. In the estates, you can decide if you want the estate pipes which are unsmoked. Let's do that. So this is out of the whole site. These are the unsmoked. I looked at these, the Nordings, but in the end I bought that rusticated one, which I showed the other week. But it's not 9mm, the one that I got. So that one I will either sell or convert. Well, that's all the estate 9mm they've got. And show all. They've got 647 9mm pipes on the website. And then you can filter by price. So let's go high to low. So the Donalds are at the top. And you've got here a Vulcan Nautilus, which is quite nice. Interesting shape. 554 euros. Paul Winslow. 500 euros. Kai Nielsen. He's a pipe maker which, although I don't always like this aesthetic here, for me it's just too much for my personal taste, but I do like his bowl shaping a lot of the time. Perhaps not that particular one, but let's go to Kai Nielsen. Kai Nielsen. So he's got quite a classic Danish kind of style, and he does a lot of 9mm pipes as well, so that's what attracted me to him. Yeah, so here it just looks unbalanced. I don't like criticizing other people's pipes, but if you look at the size of the bowl and then you look at all of that, it just seems a little bit, this bit here especially, you know, if this bit here would have been similar to that width, it might have looked okay. It just a bit unbalanced, but it is his style. I will say that he sticks to his style. He does that quite a bit. Yeah, so exactly, it's not a criticism, it's just a personal observation, personal preference. Here you got it again. It's not as bad here because it just flares out there, but for me it's just unbalanced. It takes away too much from the pipe. Same there again. But you can see it's his style and he's sticking to it, and that's good. He's obviously got his devotees who like that. A snail bridge pipe since the first one. I'm not. If you're talking to me, I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Unless you're talking about the tadpoles, maybe. But I do like his. That's a nice looking pipe. So we have a roll call, courtesy of Patrick, and I'm currently smoking my new Parker. This one's interesting. The Bulldog. It's got sharp lines. That's a nice spigot. I wonder if it's silver. I don't think so. Not for that money. Well, it really depends on the carver, Daniel. Some people, normally the way you would do it is that the curve here should be in line with the top of the bowl, so it should be, it could be lower or higher, but the plane that it's on should be in parallel with the top of the bowl. And the reason for that is that if it was bent more, for instance, then when you put it in your mouth it would be like that, which means the heat would rise here and it would scorch the back of the bowl, whereas if you hold it horizontal the heat just goes straight up. That's the theory. But a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people where they buy a pipe and they'll bend it more because they want it to be a chin hanger, and it's more comfortable to clench, and they don't worry about that, so it gets scorched. They don't care. It's more important for them to enjoy the experience, and fair enough. And sometimes for aesthetic effects you bend it a little bit more or a little bit less. I do see a lot of Danish pipe makers, they have a much more subtle approach to the bend, and it's almost upright, which means that if you were to clench it the pipe would be like that, and it's to me it's counterintuitive, but it's an aesthetic thing. So for them, they want the pipe to look a certain way. I had a commission recently from somebody, and they wanted it only to be barely bent, but the pipe was almost a full bent pipe, and it really needed to be, the stem needed to be bent over, but they didn't want it. They wanted just a subtle. So, you know, if that's what they want, that's what they want. I mean, it's like anything, Daniel. A saddle stem, you know, it's just, you know, in a way, a saddle stem is more comfortable than a tapered stem often. But because if you imagine this bit, especially on a 320, by the way, I know it's your favorite shape, but for me, the Savinelli 320s, I have had one, and the reason I didn't like it is because the stem became fat too early, and you felt it in your mouth. You felt that fatness of the stem in your mouth. Some people like that. I didn't like it. So when you have a saddle stem, that's going to be much thinner overall. Even if you get a tapered stem and you make it thin here, but it's going to be steadily increasing almost immediately. So depending on how far you put a stem in the mouth, it could make a difference. The so-called eBay noobs, Phil. The so-called. They try to make themselves look like idiots, and therefore they think that you're going to think, "Ooh, I'm going to get a bargain here because the guy doesn't know what he has." But they know exactly what they're doing. Occasionally you might get a widow who's selling on her husband's pipes who doesn't know, but they know. Hey, Ethan. So here's an example. This is the 320. You look at that taper, it's immediate. The taper expands immediately, and it just pushes up on your teeth and on your lips. And for me, I just find it uncomfortable. But as I say, it's a personal thing. I like the shape, I like the look of the pipe, and I've been often been thought of getting a 321, which is the same shape but smaller. So here's a 321, and that already looks a little bit better. You can see it's a little bit smaller, but the way they've shaped the stem is that the taper is not as severe. And here's a good example of what I was saying before. So you have a look at this pipe. The bowl is there, so that ideally should be bent more so that it's horizontal in line with the bowl, but it's not. It points up, and that's really got to be a handheld pipe, not a clench, because if you're going to clench that, imagine that twisting up in your mouth because you're clenching there. So the bowl is going to be turned up like that. Or unless you just let it hang from your teeth, then maybe, but I mean, generally speaking, each pipe maker has their own style of button, and they usually will just stick to that. I guess if a customer was doing a commission and said, "Can you do it this way or that way?" It'll be up to the pipe maker if he wants to do that. But generally, you'll see that with most pipe makers, they have their own style, how they do their buttons, each one thinks that the way they do it is the best and the most comfortable, because it's what usually they prefer themselves, and each person will have their fans. Each carver, somebody will buy their pipe and they will like it, and therefore they'll buy again and again from the same pipe maker because their pipe is comfortable to them. Yeah, exactly, Patrick. That's a nice pipe, a Nirrup Rhodesian. You see, this one is bent almost on the plane. It's bent over a fraction more, but that would be a very nice pipe to smoke. I would say if it was a fraction shorter, the stem, that would be a really nice clincher. The problem with it being as long as this is that it means that this bowl is further away from your face, which means it's tugging on your jaw. Whereas if it's closer to your face, you have a better center of gravity, which is closer to your face, which means it's not going to pull as much on your jaw. But it looks like a really nice pipe, actually. It's only a small observation. I think Savinelli have something similar. You don't see them very often, but they do. They have made something similar to a P-lip, if I'm not mistaken. But pretty much, it's mostly Peterson that uses them. Mastercraft, okay. I do like the look of these unstained Petersons. They've brought out a new series, PSB, I think it's called, which is like a deeper, more craggy kind of sandblast. They also brought out the Rua, which is also a nice sandblast. You have to be lucky. I did try to get a Rua for a while, but then I just gave up. Yeah, hi Gary. The Bruno Nutton, you mean the slim ones? I didn't see it. I missed it. All right. I want to take a poll of the guys who are on here. What do you think about Anne Julie pipes? Go. Here's an Anne Julie pipe, which went and sold for €7,200. Hey, Stevie. It's not to say that she doesn't make some which are beautiful, but I mean, it's all a matter of taste, obviously. Yeah, this is the lady's leg from Anne Julie. It's only €4,500. This one's cheap. Leg looks broken. Hey, McPhil. It's artistic. It's her art, you know. I mean, most of these go to Japan and China, and they probably never get smoked. $7,200. This one sold for. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of time being spent on them, but some people would say that they prefer show the grain. But this is a different type of art, you know. It's what she does, and she has her fans. There's no question about it. You know, nobody's going to pay 7,200 if there wasn't a demand for it. I didn't see two stems. Have I got a cold? No. Maybe a bit of a blocked nose, but no, I don't think I've got a cold. I don't feel like I have a cold. Yeah, here's a good example of what I was saying before. So look at this pipe here. It's a full bent pipe. This thing goes straight up. It would have to be pretty awkward to smoke. It wants bending. But this is a certain aesthetic. You know, it's like a ballerina style sitter. And obviously it needs to look a certain way. Yeah, so this definitely would be a holding pipe for sure. Yeah, maybe a bit banged up. But even if you were holding this pipe, you'd have to be holding it. But say your mouth was over there, it'd have to be. It would still not be at the right angle, even if you were holding it. You'd still have to tilt this up. Although because it's forward counted, there wouldn't be such a problem on this one. A Porsche pipe. Let's see if I don't think they're made anymore, so I don't think it would be there. But we can certainly. I've actually got one in the consignment. I haven't started on the pipes yet. I've got about 60, 70 pipes from the same consigner who gave me all their tobaccos to sell. And there is a brand new Porsche pipe in there. There's a Porsche pipe. This is on Smoking Pipes. This one is sold. And this also is very much about style over function. I mean, the idea is that this is, I suppose, supposed to have some kind of engine type of look to it, with a sort of a radiator effect. These sort of ribs should provide like a radiator effect, which they probably do, but I find that there's a briar bowl inside of that, and for me the briar bowl is so thin in order for it to be able to sit inside this pipe, the outer pipe. I'd much rather have a thicker pipe. This is design. The outside, I don't know if it's briar or not, but let's see what more, if we can find some more pictures of how they're made. Right, so this one is certainly, the outer is briar. Yeah, engine type, part of an engine. Here, this is it. Here you go. This will show you a little bit more. So you look at this one, you can see how thin the actual bowl is, but you're not touching it because you're touching the outer edge of the pipe, so you don't actually touch it, and by the time any heat dissipates out of these ribs, you know, it's going to have cooled down. Looks like this one's available. 345 quid. Some of them are like that. They're obviously brighter. $154 in stock. Smoking Pipes EU. Sold. It must be an estate pipe. Yeah, it's an estate pipe. Oh, that's nicely done actually. They've showed the briar off really nicely. But this is basically a regular briar pipe. They haven't done the whole shtick that they did with the others. So this is a briar pipe and they've just put rings in it. That's an interesting looking meerschaum. Why don't they show the front of it? It's an interesting looking meerschaum, that. Alpha. That's an Israeli pipe. It's actually quite an elaborate stem and shank there for an Alpha pipe. Alpha Calabash. $61. Not bad. It's not mine, the Porsche pipe. The Porsche pipe belongs to the consignor. Any of you guys got a pipe from HS Studio? They're actually not bad. And when they first started making pipes, they used to sell them really, really cheap on eBay. But they're actually pretty good. Unsmoked as well. That could easily be made into 9mm now. You can still buy S-Bangs, but they're not being made anymore. They're being sold, but they're not being made. They've retired. They've officially retired. Danish Pipe Shop has, I think, some S-Bang pipes. Big Ben is a big company, big pipe company. I mean, it's made by I can't remember the name of the company now. I think they do cigars as well. Is it Hilson? Here, no shortage of S-Bang pipes. They've got 12 here. And S-Bang actually did some 9mm pipes as well, quite a few 9mm pipes. If you really want to get an S-Bang pipe, you get it as soon as you can, because the prices will go up and up and up. Dutch, yes, Dutch. Thank you, Mad Piper. Goobles, that's the name I was thinking of. Patrick, thank you. I think Goobles is the overarching owner of Big Ben. Pretty sure of that. Right, I need to relight. Where's my lighter? There it is. Well, that's very nice of you, Jeff. Yeah, this is the pipe my most recent acquisition is a Parker XL, which I converted to 9mm and put a stem on. I did a step-by-step video on Friday showing that conversion. And I'm christening it with some London Fog. It's got a pretty big bowl. 22 or something like that. It's 24 mil. Wow, that's a big bowl. 23 and a half. It tapers down a bit, but it's a big bowl. Yeah, I mean, the Porsche is a design. You're buying it for its design. It's probably a perfectly nice pipe to smoke, but it's about the design. If you like that kind of thing, then go for it. These S-Banks here, I reckon these are, sorry, these are S-Banks, but they must be earlier on, because they tended to do more, although they did do lots of classic shapes, but they tended to do more beefier shanks more recently. I'm not really sure. 6 mil doesn't work for me. There is a pipe show. There is a pipe show in October, Stevie, here in the UK. It is a bit late, yeah. Better than out. I'm supposed to be showing this time. I'm supposed to be taking a table. Got to build up a bit of inventory. You hibernate after all this. No, I wouldn't spend 1,000 on a pipe either. I didn't end up going last year to the pipe show. I had a job on that day, so I couldn't go. I think the most I've spent is £295, which was on a Dunhill. And this is probably, is this the most expensive one after that? And there's a brace of £250 pipes. So I commissioned a Henrik Kroll pipe. I commissioned a Michael, what's his name? I can't remember the Acorn that I've got. Yeah, and my Fulvivara Calabash would have also been in that region. Jason Mouton. I think I've still got a Jason Mouton Lovat. Or did I sell it? I can't remember. I have to look in my box. I used to have loads of Boswell pipes. I've now got 3 or 4, but I used to have some really nice elaborate ones, but as soon as I went over to 9 mil, I sold a lot of them. And then I thought, when I just realized that I could convert them, So I held the ones that I had, I kept them and converted them. Thank you, Jeremy. It's really hard, about pricing. It's really, really hard. You want to still be affordable, but at the same time, you want to be able to stay in the business. So it's like really trying to sort of keep it to a certain level, the price, and not go too high. And that's always a struggle. The least favorite pipe that I purchased, I don't know. I wouldn't like to say anyway. The Skipper is a really nice, it's a nice shape, it's a nice design. It's a nice pipe. And that's a pipe which is inspired by Ronaldo pipe, the Ronaldo Skipper. And I saw that in Rome, in Fincato, the first shop that I went to in Rome. It's where I bought the Talamona. But the Skipper wasn't 9mm. If it was, if it would have been 9mm, I may well have bought that Skipper pipe, but it wasn't. I suppose I could have converted it, but well, Jeff, if you wanted a Rosebud and you wanted it to be the Crown Series, put in the order. You don't have to have it made now, but put in the order, because, as I say, I'm going to be closing down the book on the Crown Series 2. The Cobras were interesting. Those are a lot of work, but it's essentially like a horn-shaped pipe, and then with designs on it. Eldridge Pipes, Chris Kelly, he makes some stunning pipes. I mean, his creations are very artistic. He does repeat the same creations, but they are very unique, even though they are repeated. Like the mushroom and the snail and the slug, all those ones that he does are fantastic. He's really got a great skill when he comes to, especially in the more sort of darker kind of side of things. He's into all of that. Stephen, Cobbett of the Shire, has got a 7-day set of those reading pipes. They look great. The sea urchin, yeah, a very interesting concept. That's from Ian Walker, Northern Briars. I have had one of them. Yeah, it's somewhere between a billiard and an egg, Adam and Mark. It's somewhere between a stubby bent billiard and egg. The shape of the billiard is more egg-shaped because it kind of tapers in at the top, more than a standard billiard. Yeah, the Amber Flame, I've got a fair bit of it still. When I ordered it originally, I ordered a fair bit, so I would have it. Perfect clencher, size and shape. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the amber flame is really, really nice. I mean, if you get a good bit where it really just looks like flame and smoke, you have to be lucky, because it's quite random. But I've had some which turned out just amazing. I had a couple which I did for a commission for actually somebody here in London, which I was able to hand deliver, which I very rarely get to do with a pipe. But turned out stunning. Look at that one. Just a beautiful, it really does look like flame. Another view. Planning on hitting Las Vegas. Let's hope you've still got your trousers on when you come back, and the shirt on your back. Rich dark flake with a glass of Merlot. But it's really potluck. You just don't know what you're going to get when you cut into the block, into the rods. The rods are very hard to predict. You can kind of, but it's so random, the shapes, that you just don't know. This pipe, I was very, very tempted to keep this pipe. This pipe turned out beautiful. I have to think about making another one. Just the lines on it was just beautiful. Pipe 700, remember that? The 2-pipe set. That took a while to sell. I often go back on these and just sometimes think to myself, did I really make that pipe? There's a shield pipe, which turned out really nice. That's a lovely Labatt, this one, a Carblast Labatt. That one was really nice. I should do more of them. The Carblast on that was awesome. Which one, Jeremy? Is it this one? Look at that. I mean, that is just mind-blowing. That is gorgeous. 657. Look at the flame on this one. It's unreal. $657. Where's 657? Ah, this one. Yeah, beautiful pipe, lovely Carblast. Really beautiful Carblast on this pipe. Very, very realistic. Nice bit of horn. Yeah, that's a great pipe. You got yourself a good one. The full swirl stem. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Daniel. This pipe, the grain on this pipe is mad grain. The Queen's pipe. Around Series 1. This was the sort of the showstopper one from Series 1. I think that's probably my most expensive pipe that I've made so far. This one was a bit random, and there wasn't enough red. I would have liked there to be more red. There's only slight hints of red, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way it came out. There's a bit of red there in the band. Pipe number 1. No, I've got no idea what pipe number 1 was. And this one was nice because this one was engraved with ER, the Queen's years. And it was the first time I did the brick kind of effect. It's obviously improved on since then, but that was the first one that I did. And this one, I liked this pipe. This was a lovely looking pipe. This was like a Bernard pot type thing, but the brick effect on this is just one of the best ones that I've done. Just fantastic. Really good looking pipe. I don't know if they're on the website, Daniel. That one is the one that Paul the Piper has got. Paul has that pipe. This was a commission from John. That was a Bernard shape. That long shank was just really something nice, very nice. I like that. No, you can do carved glass with the plateau pipe. Shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, this is another. I don't know if this is one of Phil's or not. 627, but that's another beautiful one of those bent billiards. This one was something special and really nice. I think this is one of Phil's, if I come to think of it. A silver spigot style. Bob's chocolate flake, nice. I think this is for one of Phil's pipes. Beautiful grain. Oh, the drip wax, yeah. This one is interesting. It's almost like a caricature the way it is. It's like you can imagine this in a Disney movie, like a honey pot with an exaggerated kind of style of honey drip over the side of the pot. But yeah, this was the whole honey drip type thing was, or wax drip, was inspired by Larison pipes, because I hadn't seen anybody do it like this. The wax strips that you see from Radice are completely different, or Caminetto. It's completely different, a much flatter design. This is a much more of a 3D design, much more exaggerated. Yeah, a Pooh Bear pipe. That's exactly what it looks like, with this real heavy drip of honey over the edge of the pot. And this, as I say, was what I saw from Larison pipes. He did it like this, and that's where I learnt it. How you doing, Cole? And this one, Mark, I think you commissioned for Briar Blues for Mike. I don't know if he still has the pipe or not, but I thought this one was stunning, the way it came out. The mortar pipe, with a nice ebonite, blue and black ebonite stem. I hope you don't mind me reminiscing about some of these pipes. It's nice to do. I like it, looking back, seeing the pipes that I've made. This pipe here was a double commission. That one and this one. This was a double commission for a customer who wanted the same pipe in big and small. There was a horn that I did. But it comes with its challenges, because to do this in 9mm, you have to do it quite thick at the shank sort of area to accommodate 9mm. But other than that, I thought it was a beautiful pipe. Lovely grain on it. I wouldn't make the drip wax a signature pipe. It's just too much work. It's okay to do it every so often, but not as a signature pipe. Just too much work. This pipe I was very tempted to keep. It was an interesting shape, like a hawkbill style. Not quite a hawkbill, but it was interesting. Took a while to sell that one, if I remember correctly. And this is 2 AM pipe on a patio. This was the pipe I gifted him when his daughter got engaged. I think this was the pipe. You bought the hawkbill. Good for you. I hope you smoke it. I hope it smokes well. Pipe 600. This was a cool pipe. It stood on a tiny little foot, but it was very well balanced, the shape. That was a nice pipe. A very nice sort of level plateau as well. That was a nice pipe. ENA's dad. How you doing, Robert? This one is B-Dog John. He's got this pipe. You sent it to somebody. Good for you. I assumed that was James. There's another drip wax. And this is a big shield, a very big pipe this one was. But again, beautiful grain. Look at that, beautiful cross grain. And gorgeous bird's eye on the front. One of those multicolored ebonite stems. I'm surprised I had the room to do this, you know, the double band business, because these pipes, the shields, they don't usually have enough width to get enough of a shank out there, so that must have been a very big block. I never sold the stapler pipe. No, I still have that. It's in my drawer. This one was an interesting one. A stubby square shanked pipe. But that is not a clencher, because that's the same problem as with a 320. It gets too wide too quickly. So that would have been a hand holding pipe. But it was an interesting pipe to make. Shotgun shell pipe I made for your boss. I haven't seen any shotgun shells. This one was interesting. This was an interesting pipe with a really interesting stem. And I've just had a commission inquiry to make a pipe just like that. Thank you, Yusuf. I'm enjoying it too. This was one of the first diamond shanks that I did. I mean, I had done them, but it's one of the first that I was happy with. There was obviously some kind of surface floor here that I did that rustication, but this was one of the first diamond shanks that I did, which came out in a way that I was happy. This one I loved. I absolutely loved this pipe. I'm not sure if you got this one, Jeff, or not. Absolutely loved the way this rustication worked out on this pipe. Look at that. There, and then it comes off at an angle. Really nice stem on this one as well. Now this one I liked as well, but it also took a while to sell. I thought it was an amazing pipe. This shape, like a squat tomato, with a big horn shank. I thought it was a phenomenal pipe. And the guy who got it loved it. But it took a while to sell. But I was very close to smoking this pipe. And the guy who got it enjoys it. I've seen a couple of videos of his. I can't remember who it was now, but oh, there's my pipe. I smoked this pipe. This smokes it all at golden sliced very well. Pipe 556. I kept that one. There's another shield. Look at the grain on this. I don't think I've done calabash, no. Look at this beautiful grain on the front of the shield. I think Big Phil's got this pipe, the mortar pipe, which came out really well. A beautiful mortar. Now this pipe was another pipe that I wanted to keep. It went to Stefan Skip, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure if it was actually this one. It might have been a similar one. It wasn't this one. No, they had a more rounded one. And I really wanted to keep it. And in the end, they had it. And then they were going to put it into a giveaway, and I couldn't believe it. Here it is. There it is. But I think in the end they kept it. I absolutely love this pipe. This is also Eldritch. This is the green and bluey type thing, which I think I made for Jeff. I think I had this custom made, this rod stock, which I think was for you, Jeff. It was your football colours or something like that. But it was really craggy rustication, bent billiard. Loved the pipe. Absolutely loved it. And there is B-Dog's Ramses. Was that the one I sent you by mistake? That's the Ramses. Stunning pipe. I should really do another one. That was just pretty amazing. I mean, pipe makers don't usually tackle that shape till later on. But it was beautiful. The stem was beautiful. Really worked out fantastic, that pipe. There's Robert's pipe. Really unique shape. Love this ridge here along the bottom of the pipe. Gorgeous grain. That's probably darkened up quite nicely by now, Robert. Nice plateau. Now this pipe was something else. This was something else. I don't remember who bought this, but to me this was one of the best carve blasts that I've ever done. I mean, that looks like a sandblasted pipe with an awesome ring grain. I I don't know, Patrick. Maybe we'll come to it. We'll see. This is all on my gallery, by the way. You can look at these anytime you want. It's all on my website. Oh, it'd be nice to see it, Robert. Well, I liked it. That was a cool pipe. This was a commission, a green spigot. I don't remember who commissioned that. That's a nice sort of author kind of shape. It worked out really well. Alright, there's a shotgun. Egg, shotgun egg. I think this is Phil's. It's either Phil's or Adams. I don't recall which. 522. Have you got this one, Jeff? Oh, you got the shotgun one, right? This was a Canadian with that denim ebonite stem. I think we're getting near to the beginning now. This was an interesting pipe. It's almost like a slug. Had amazing grain on it. It's more of a sculptural pipe, this one. I like this pipe a lot as well. Kind of got a bit of a Peterson vibe to the shape. This one I think went to Germany. I think this went to Wolfgang, who I Zoom with every week in a group. He was very happy with that. He also got a Jekyll and Hyde as well from me. I think I smoked this one for a while, maybe, I'm not sure. I think this one went to Pipegram, to Josh, I think, if I'm not mistaken. .504 is yours, the Canadian. Yep, that's with the denim stem material. That's a lovely pipe. Gorgeous, look at that. Beautiful stem. I love that denim stem material. Nice button. Nice carved blast. This one I remember took a while to sell, but it was a great pipe. I think it was a great pipe. Beautiful grain, and this sky blue, sort of just a single colour. I thought it was quite neat. I've still got some of that stem material. I ordered that. I also sent him, I think, was that you, Jeff, as well? Somebody ordered this material. That's not white. That's just the shine. That's just the reflection. But somebody ordered this color, the sky blue color. And I thought this was a great pipe, and I couldn't understand why it wasn't selling. Well, you can never predict, you know, what people are going to like. Yay, there's mine. That's one that I smoke vanilla roll cake in. This was an interesting pipe. It was like a ball-shaped pipe. Did you get that, Jeff? Yeah, the car blasted pipes, they have a very good cooling effect, for sure. Like a radiator effect. This was a 4-star super grain. I don't use a super grain stamp very often, but you can see that on this pipe. Just look at the grain. Just phenomenal. An Ortho pipe, silver band. There's the super grain stamp. The super grain is actually rarer than the 4-star, to be honest. I mean, the rarest has been the 5-star. Obviously, I've only done one, but the super grain, I've probably only used it 4 or 5 times, maybe. I mean, that sold for $295, but to be honest, personally, I think that's a £500 pipe, and whoever got it got a bargain. There's a Christmas pipe there. This one, I think Night Piper got this pipe, if I'm not mistaken. That was an interesting pipe. The images are not very good. Not sure why not. This one, I think, went to Boris. I think that was Boris's pipe. Or one, he had one very similar to it. That was another Christmas pipe. This one I smoked for a while and then sold it as an estate pipe. No problem, Robert. If another one comes up, I shall bear you in mind. This pipe also took a while to sell, but I actually think this is a phenomenal pipe. This was a Cumberland stem. Dublin, really beautiful Dublin shaped pipe. Beautiful grain. And that's I think that's a corker, that pipe. It's so hard when you make pipes, you know, to sell them. It really is. Oh, I've lost it now. There we are. There's the, I think these were the, was this your brother's pipes? I don't remember, Mark. I'm not sure if those were one of yours or not. 135 quid in those days. I've got to do one of these. I've got this on my commissions list. This was a Hackett style pipe, which I also was sorely tempted, because this was designed like my favourite Hackett pipe, with a bit of boxwood in there. You can see if you read the description, This one is made with fond memories in the style of my all-time favorite Hackett pipe. Yeah, I do have quite a few pipes that never sold. I keep them just to, when I do a show, I'll just bring them out. I've got maybe 6 or 7 pipes that never sold. But there's no point just leaving it on the website forever. So if it's on there for a few weeks and doesn't sell, then I'll take them off. Thankfully, that doesn't happen too often. This pipe here, I think, was the one that B-Dog lost. Do you guys remember that? I think it was this one. He wanted like a carved kind of pipe, like a custom built kind of style. It's not quite a custom built style, but I think this was the one that he lost for a while, which he found in a bag of his eventually. That's the gold Eldritch. This one, the Calla Lily, that was something special. At that time, this was my most expensive pipe that I'd ever made. Pictures are not really doing it any justice here. But this was also a very sculptural kind of pipe. I mean, this leaf, the way it sort of comes out and literally looks like a leaf. The pipes do not, the pictures don't do it justice. I'm actually quite embarrassed about these pictures. Oh, the barrel pipe. This was a take on a, what's his name pipe, on a, what's his name, that German pipe maker. Maybe I wrote it down in the description. Yeah, Mummert. The water pipe was inspired by a Mummert pipe. And there's people saying that I don't quote the people that inspire my pipes. I do so pretty much on every pipe that is inspired by somebody else. But that was, I gave this one to Giuliano, I think, when I met him in JJ Fox's. This one might have also got a 2 AM pipe on a patio. I'm not sure. I think he called it the Bam Bing because it's a bamboo, but like a Bing's favourite. Some good memories. This was a stunning pipe. This one, I think it was a commission. I'm not sure. These images look weird. They're like missing. There must have been something up. It must have been zoomed in without me realizing it. Yeah, there's something up with these pictures. That's one of James's. He calls it the honey pipe, I think. I don't know if he still smokes it or not, but that was one of his. He was quite particular about the specifications on that. Mark will remember this pipe. This is the Chrysalis freehand. I still have this pipe. Mark originally bought this pipe, and I discovered a little fissure inside the bowl, and although I didn't really think it would be any trouble, I just couldn't, in all honesty. He'd already paid for it, but I didn't feel that I could sell it, in all honesty, so I refunded him his money, and the pipe's sitting in my drawer, and I've since then put a bowl coating on it, and I'm sure it will be absolutely fine, but I just couldn't sell it like that. Yeah. I might smoke it one day. I don't know. Maybe I'll still sell it with that floor in it. Obviously disclosing the floor, maybe. This pipe, I think, it went to Yardism. I've never seen him smoke it though. This one worked out really nice, beautiful grain, also a sculpted kind of freeform style pipe, nice grain on it. I haven't done those freeform styles for a while. They're kind of the Danish kind of freehand type shape. Some nice pipes here. We're coming towards the end now. Oh, is that it? No. This is a set commissioned by Stefan Skip. Although I haven't seen Skip smoke this pipe, I hope he does. And this pipe is actually in my Facebook icon, is this picture, or one of these pictures from this pipe. Very nice grain on that. This one I actually gave to myself as a birthday present, must have been 2 or 3 years ago. Smoked it for a while and then I sold it. Very clean piece of briar. Bit of reverse plateau on that. Nice pipe. This is the Jekyll and Hyde which Wolfgang bought. Had beautiful grain on one side and then carved blast on the other side. He really loves that pipe. Told me that a few times. Which one do you have, Jeff? Oh, the birthday pipe. This one. Cool pipe. That was a nice pipe. The puffer. That sat with me for ages till it sold. That one went to Germany. I remember when I first made it, I thought it was the Dog's Danglies, and I put it up for a stupid price. In the end, I think I sold it for like 125 quid. That's an early pipe, that is. The large volcano. That was a big pipe. Here it is. Daniel. So yeah, you asked about this pipe. That's the one with the ruby in it. And Paul has this pipe. Paul the piper has 2 rubies there, but they didn't go in that well, and I sold it cheap in the end. That's like a magnum-sized pipe. Nice pipe though. I'm sure it smokes well. Nice thick walls. I think that's it. pipe 299. Wow. Well, we're a long way from that now. So this pipe, I've taken it off, but I still have that. I still have this pipe. Those two I still have. So they'll come out again at some point, either at a show or I'll just show them again, and maybe it'll be the right time and somebody will like them and buy them. This one was a commission. Tadpole. Tadpole, I actually smoke mine quite a bit, and in reality it's a fantastically shaped pipe because it's a full bent pipe in a compact form, and it's kind of a bit like smoking the stubby bent billiards that Mark wants to get and that Phil has. It's the same kind of, the lines, obviously the outside of it is all completely different shaped, but it's a great pipe to smoke. Yeah, this is my one, and it's much more bent. The customer wanted that one straight up, but I've been putting it through its paces. This pipe smokes very well, and it's just a very good bent pipe essentially. There's Mark's pipe. This one is the one that went to Phil, and I think this one went to B-Dog. This was a Canadian without a filter. This is a standard tenon on this one. I think that one went to B-Dog. Came out really nice. Had some really nice pipes, the last few pipes. Exceedingly good grain. Grain on this pipe was just mesmerizing. So this one is like a section carved out, but I guess you could call it a Jekyll and Hyde as well, really. That's my pipe. This one, I'm still breaking this one in. Got beautiful grain as well. A little plateau on the side. And there's the lighter that my daughter brought me. Yep, I prefer bird's eye too than straight grain. I mean, it's a matter of personal preference, but yeah, I personally prefer that. This was a commission from a guy here in London that I managed to hand deliver this pipe. It's worked out gorgeous. And here's the one and only 5-star. I think we'll wrap it up with a 5-star, which Dale Piper now has. This is just one block of grain essentially. If I'd have had gold rings, I'd have put gold rings on it. That's really what should have happened, is it should have had gold rings on it. That's the one single 5-star that I've ever made. I've not made another. Alright folks, I think I'm going to call it a night. Thank you Jeff, thank you Robert, thank you Mad Piper, thank you Yusuf, thank you Sam Online, Ian's dad, Mark Welsh Piper, Jeff, Sam Online, Mad Piper, I think I've said all of you already, Patrick, Adam, Cole, Jeremy, Yusuf, Daniel, Stevie, McPhil, and everybody else. Thank you very, very much. Robert has dibs on the next 5-star. We shall try to remember that. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to wish you all well. I'm rather tired, so I'm going to go. It was really enjoyable to reminisce and look at some of these shapes. I tend to forget the pipes that I've made often. Actually, that one was a very cool pipe as well. So it was nice to do this. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mark. Have a great weekend, all of you. And tomorrow I'm actually going to be busy. We're celebrating my mum's birthday. She's 77. So she's not doing so well, but we're still celebrating, and she's been really with it and happy, and we're going to enjoy that. So a lot of family coming around. We're doing it in my brother's house. We're doing a barbecue, and there'll be a lot of people there. So I'm looking forward to that. But for now, I wish you all well. I'll catch you on the next one.